Imagine a world where the greatest teacher who ever lived never wrote a single word, never left behind a book, a scroll, or even a line of his own thought. Yet his ideas outlived empires, survived wars, and shaped the very foundation of modern philosophy. This is the paradox of Socrates, a man who walked barefoot through the streets of Athens, challenging kings, poets, soldiers, and ordinary citizens with nothing but questions. No army protected him, no wealth empowered him, and no text recorded his wisdom. His only weapon was conversation. And somehow, without ink or paper, his ideas traveled through the minds of students, through the memories of generations, and through the dialogues that would later transform Western thought. How does a man with no writings become the father of philosophy? How does a voice that never touched parchment echo louder than entire libraries? Socrates' legacy is a hidden one, preserved not in books, but in people. And his story reveals a truth more powerful than any written word. Ideas live longest when they live in human minds. Socrates remains one of the most influential figures in human history, yet he never wrote a single book, leaving the world with a legacy that survived entirely through memory, dialogue, and the devotion of his followers rather than through any written record of his own. And this unusual fact makes his story even more remarkable because it proves that powerful ideas do not depend on ink and parchment to survive. They depend on people. Born in 5th century BCE Athens, a city that was then the intellectual center of the Greek world, Socrates lived during a time of political tension, artistic brilliance, military conflict, and philosophical exploration. Rather than seeking fame, wealth, or political power, Socrates chose a very different path. He walked the streets barefoot, wore the same simple clothing every day, and spent his life questioning Athenians of every class, politicians, craftsmen, poets, teachers, and young students, pushing them to examine their beliefs. His approach was not based on lecturing or giving long speeches. Instead, he asked questions that forced people to think deeply, often exposing contradictions in their reasoning. This technique, now called the Socratic method, is one of history's most powerful tools for intellectual inquiry. The method works by continuously asking thoughtful, logical questions, breaking apart assumptions, and guiding someone toward greater clarity. Socrates believed that conversation was more valuable than writing, because written words could not respond to questions or defend themselves. He argued that writing made the mind lazy because people would rely on text rather than engaging directly with ideas. For Socrates, real knowledge had to be alive, constantly tested, challenged, and refined through dialogue. In this way, he transformed the simple act of asking a question into a lifelong philosophical practice. His belief that true wisdom comes from knowing that you know nothing invited people to approach life with humility, curiosity, and honesty. Despite leaving behind no books, Socrates influenced Western philosophy more than almost any writer. His ideas survived because students like Plato and Xenophon recorded conversations they had with him. Plato's dialogues in particular shape the way the world understands Socrates, though they also reflect Plato's interpretations. Still, without Plato, the world might never have known Socrates at all, proving that even unwritten ideas can echo across centuries when preserved through human memory and devotion. Through Plato's writings, Socrates became the foundation of Western philosophy, inspiring discussions about ethics, logic, politics, justice, the soul, and the meaning of truth. His teachings encouraged individuals to question authority, examine their beliefs, and pursue virtue over personal gain. This made him widely respected among young thinkers, but deeply unpopular among powerful leaders who disliked being questioned. Socrates challenged the sophists, teachers who claimed they could teach success through persuasive speech, whether or not it was truthful. He believed that truth was more important than winning an argument, and that moral integrity was more valuable than social approval. This commitment to truth eventually led to conflict with the Athenian government. After years of publicly examining and challenging the ideas of influential citizens, Socrates was charged with corrupting the youth and disrespecting the gods. At his trial, which we know about through Plato's Apology, Socrates refused to apologize or change his beliefs in exchange for freedom. He argued that questioning society and challenging false beliefs were duties given to him by a higher moral purpose. When sentenced to death, he accepted the punishment calmly, drinking the hemlock poison in front of his heartbroken students. Ironically, the Athenian leaders hoped his execution would silence him, but it accomplished the opposite. His death became a symbol of intellectual courage and moral integrity, inspiring generations of thinkers. Plato dedicated his life to preserving Socrates' memory, and through these writings, Socrates' ideas spread far beyond Athens, influencing not only Greek thought, but also later Roman, Islamic, Christian, and modern philosophical traditions. The hidden legacy of Socrates demonstrates that powerful ideas do not need physical form to survive. They survive because people live them, repeat them, debate them, and pass them forward. His influence can be seen in the development of logic, the structure of scientific inquiry, and the formation of ethical philosophy. The scientific method, for example, is built on questioning, testing assumptions, and seeking logical explanations, all principles rooted in Socratic thinking. In law schools around the world, professors still use the Socratic method to train students to think critically, answer precisely, and defend their arguments logically. In psychology, therapists use Socratic questioning to help individuals uncover hidden beliefs, challenge harmful thoughts, and gain self-awareness. Even in everyday life, when people reflect on their choices, ask themselves why they believe something, or challenge unfair practices, they are echoing Socratic principles. It is astonishing that all of this influence came from a man who refused to write things down. His legacy is living, breathing, and constantly evolving because it was built on conversation rather than text. Yet this unwritten legacy is also fragile. Because Socrates wrote nothing, we rely on the memories and interpretations of others, which may not capture his exact words or beliefs. Some historians argue that the Socrates we know might be part historical and part literary creation. But this uncertainty does not diminish his impact. Instead, it highlights how powerful his teaching style was. Rather than giving the world fixed doctrines, he gave us a method, a way of thinking that encourages critical reflection, humility, and the lifelong pursuit of truth. His story also teaches that humans have an extraordinary ability to preserve knowledge without books. Before written text became widespread, many cultures relied on oral storytelling, memory, and shared dialogue to preserve their wisdom. Socrates' legacy reflects this older, more human way of passing ideas from one generation to the next. His philosophy survived because it captured something universal about the human condition: the desire to know ourselves, to find truth, and to live a meaningful life. Socrates encouraged people not to follow tradition blindly, but to question it, improve it, and make it their own. In this sense, his legacy is not just in historical texts. It is in every human mind that dares to think deeply. The power of Socrates lies in the fact that his ideas continue to live wherever people ask honest questions. His influence proves that a single human life, even without a single written word, can shape the entire intellectual history of the world. He transformed philosophy from a study of the universe into a study of human life and moral responsibility. His death became a symbol of standing by one's principles, even in the face of injustice. And his method became a tool that continues to guide education, justice, science, and self-understanding. Socrates' hidden legacy is therefore not just the survival of his ideas without books, but the reminder that wisdom lives in dialogue, in reflection, and in the courage to question everything. His story shows that while books preserve words, people preserve wisdom. And as long as humans continue to seek truth, examine themselves, and ask meaningful questions, the spirit of Socrates will live on, stronger than any written text could ever make it.